after her agreement. She's moved from Washington, I don't know where MS is.
Mississippi,
Colorado, and now lives in California. She's the #1 Rookie of the Year for the Kathy Halou National Area in 2016. I don't know what that next thing says, but building her Prevail National Area, her highest check in 1 month has been over $7,900, not including her sales. Please welcome from the Debbie Moore Inner Circle National Area, Rielle Flanagan!
Hey, I'm so honored to speak to you guys. Like, seriously. Okay, so I'm supposed to tell you guys my story. So I'm Rielle Flanagan. I was 19, you guys, when I started Mary Kay. Wow. I was 19 years old. I'm going to tell you how I'm 28 today. And Mary Kay said, a woman who will tell you her age will tell you anything, right? So you guys know I'm going to lay it on the table and I'm telling you for real, like, what the deal is. So I hope that any piece of my story will, like, kind of inspire you. And since this is consultants only, like, it's the real to real, and I want you guys to feel like you can ask me questions at the end if you have questions, right? Okay, so I started my Mary Kay business at 19. I never ever thought I would be a beauty consultant. I'm gonna paint the picture for you. I was a college student. I had acne all over my forehead. I was pre-med and I was gonna be a surgeon. So you weren't gonna convince me of otherwise. And, yep, okay. And so I decided that, I love this product. Somebody, like, brought me as a face model. Have you guys, who was a face model in this room, right? Somebody brought me as a face model. And so I showed up at that appointment and I fell in love with the products, you guys. I was so blown away. And my girlfriend said, oh my gosh, you can get this cleanser for $12 instead of $24 if you just sign up. I was like, oh, shut up. That's better than Walmart. I'm in, okay? But don't ever ask me to do a party because I don't like girls. They're not nice. Like, girls are mean. And don't ever ask me to do a party because I was kind of afraid that I wouldn't have any friends that would even really show up. And so I 3 months later, I held that party because she was twisting my arm. You guys know how we do. Okay, and so I held that party and I made $100 an hour. And I was like, whoa, I'm 19 years old. $100 an hour is a lot better than $10 an hour. Tutoring football players, mind you. Being a full-time college student and playing Division I volleyball. Okay? Wow. So that was like where I was. And I was like, maybe if I could just do this Mary Kay thing for like a couple of years, you know, like I could get, you know, I could have some fun with it. And 2 years later, you guys, I bought my first house with Mary Kay money. Wow. I financed my first home at 21 years old, okay, and put $37,000 down on a $185,000 home, okay, which in California doesn't mean anything. But in South Mississippi, it gets you an 1,800 square foot home, and my neighbors were doctors and lawyers. Like, I was like, wow, I've made it. This is amazing. And I the whole time I was working in the ER, I was working in the medical field, and while I was in my undergrad, and I was like, wow, like all these people, you know, have this energy of the ER or whatever, but they all hated their life. They all hated their life. And I was like, wow, this negativity is like really not my thing. And I remembered going to my first Mary Kay meeting and I was like, they're all so happy. I wonder what kind of drugs they're on. And so I'm going to show up and I'm going to find out what this Mary Kay thing was all about. And so literally, I just kept showing up more out of curiosity than anything else. And I was doing my doctorate in molecular biology. So that's why I moved from Washington State to Mississippi to do my PhD. And after 2 years in that zone where I had a boss telling me that I couldn't even have a dog because I was going to be so busy, I wouldn't have time to let the dogs out. That was what he told me. And I was like, wow, like, I don't want to live that way. I don't want to have somebody else running my life. Like, I want to run my own life. And so I decided, okay, like, I'm going to give this Mary Kay thing a full-on try. Like, my plan Z that I was never going to really, like, do became my plan A. I left my PhD completely, and in 7 months, I became a sales director. And 3 months later, I earned my first car, and it was an amazing journey to be like, wow, like, I can actually design the life of my dreams. So then, you know, fast forward, it was like, you know, 6 months later, and I'm like, wow, like, this is really, I've tripled my income. Like, I've tripled my income that I was making working as a molecular biologist. And I would have only been able to reach this high, like this one point in Mary Kay, you know, in being in the medical field, I would have only been able to get to here. And so now in Mary Kay, my income is unlimited. And so I worked in South Mississippi for 5 years as a sales director, and I loved my job. I loved building my unit there. We built to 50 unit members, and my mom called me and she said, "Oh my gosh, Granddad just had a heart attack. I'm gonna get on a plane and I'm gonna be in Colorado." And I said, "I'll pack up my car." So I packed up that cruise with all my products and I drove to Denver to be there with my mom while my grandfather was sick. And just the fact that you can do that in your business, that if your family needs you in a split second, you can be there for them. And because of the work that I did all those years prior of building a customer base and building a team, I had the ground to stand on to say, you know what? I can do this. I went from Washington to Mississippi. I can build there. I built from scratch, not knowing a soul. Literally, I knew my real estate agent, and she wasn't going to hold a party for me. So literally building from scratch. And so I was like, I can do that. I can do that in Colorado. And so we moved to Colorado and built to be an Equinox unit, you guys, in 10 months from scratch, from zero. Okay. And then I was in Colorado, and that's honestly actually where I met Deb Ware.
Oh,
so
yeah, right.
That's how it's kind of funny. I'm tied in with, your guys' family a little bit. And so I was in Colorado and I was working there, and my plan was to see. I knew I had heard people say, do 100 faces, and that'll shift your business. You can find the leaders always rise to the top. We hear that in Mary Kay, that your top 2% of your people, right? You're looking for the top 2%. That's what directors are. And so I thought, if I could see 100 faces a month, I could find those 2 in those 100 faces. And I could find leaders quick. And so I just kept breaking down to myself, what that would look like, okay? And so that was months and months of me working to this 100, and finally we got to do 72 faces. I got to do 72 faces in 1 June, and that's when we pulled out the Equinox, and I was like, ah! So, and we finished with $21,000 in production that month, and I was like, oh, my brain was, I had hit this new point. And so as I've been going through my journey, my faith walk has just grown a lot. And so I learned that I could pray and it would happen. And so I remember praying because we were in Colorado, and my grandfather had passed, and so we were cleaning up everything. And my cousin was like, "You need to sell that house in Colorado. This is Granddad's house. We were cleaning everything up. You need to sell that house." And I was like, well, if they sell that house, then where are Steven and I going to go? Steven's still doing his PhD. He moved up to Colorado with me to join me, my then fiance and now my husband. And so he came up to Colorado, and we were going to build a life there, right? I had no intentions of leaving, but then I thought, where do I want to be? And I was praying, where do I really want to be? And my mom, you guys, my whole life has worked in Southern California. Okay. And so my whole life, I have, I learned how to do sign language just to sign to my mom through airport glass, just so I could talk to my mom longer. Okay. So I was if I could be anywhere, I'd be in Southern California, and I'd be spend time with my mom. And so Steven was talking about all these places where he'd get a job, and I was like, oh, think Southern California. Think Southern California. He was telling me all these places, the Hogwarts of ice hockey in Minnesota. I'm like, no, not snow, not happening. Okay. And I was like, think Southern California. And the next day, you guys, he got an email for an interview.
Southern California.
Calabasas, Southern California. I was like, we are taking that interview. So anyway, so he got the job, and I was like, this is it. This is where I'm putting roots down. And so we moved to Westlake Village, and again, started from scratch, and I still have built the unit, and I still love my girls, and I'm still really connected with them, but you truly can take this with you anywhere and start and go. And it is the same formula. What your brilliant leader is having you do, the faces take you places. Perfect start, power start, and beyond. When you do those appointments and you share the opportunity from your heart, you're going to find the women that are meant to be in your life. And so since it's going to be 2 years come July, right, that we've been in Southern California. And so since that time, you guys, I've seen over 1,000 women in this area.
Wow.
Okay. So I have a base now to pull from women. I can go, you know what? I've seen you, I've met you, and I can go, oh my God, like, you're the woman that's meant to be in my life. And so, and I really believe that God's just like leading me the women that we're supposed to have, like, so that I can like stand firm in this idea that like the leaders are going to rise up from all of the work that we've done and we're going to continue to do. And now my girls are doing it and sharing across the country. And tomorrow, like, I have another phone call with my DIQ. I'm flying next Friday to Tampa, Florida to go work with a DIQ.
That's
okay.
awesome.
And like I felt like it was so far away, but it's always been right there. Like you're closer than you think. You know, you're closer than you think you are to where you're going to be. And so like, okay, let's see. And I got married in August. So, you know, you guys know who's had to deal with weddings. Anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you guys know how expensive a wedding is.
Yes.
Okay. So getting everything done, flowers, dress, venue, thousands of dollars. Okay. You guys being able to just know that like, no matter what, we can pull that off. Right. And 4 months, I got married August 4th and moved into my first home with my husband, like the first house that I bought 21 years old, right? But like the first home that me and my husband bought together 4 months after we got married, a $600,000 home.
Ooh, wow.
Okay, with 20% down.
Wow.
Mary Kay, money.
Whoa.
Okay?
Mary Kay.
So work your business. Like the journey is worth it. Not even to the end, because this is my middle. Don't compare your beginning with my middle. Because I was that girl. I was like, why can't I just be a director? I just want to be a director. Like, can I just be a director? I don't want to be a red jacket. You know, red's great. But I just have this feeling like, oh, you know? Like, do not hate your season. Like, appreciate your season because it's preparing you for the next place. And you're going to be in that zone and it's going to get you ready, right? So when I had to come up with $13,000 to close on my house, I knew what to do. Okay? We have Mary Kay, you have cash. You got Mary Kay products, you have cash. Okay. Cash business, okay? My it was really funny. As we were closing, my guy was like, Brielle, so you have like large sums of money like rolling and out of here. Like
the lenders don't like that.
No, they didn't like that. I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, you know, I don't want to have to explain, you know, you have to keep all your receipts, whatever. I was like, so cash to close, like literally it's like I had to actually save like my hunks of money and be able to have it like gifted in, give it to my parents so that I could gift it in so that they wouldn't ask questions because that's how much Mary Kay money we can pull. Okay. And so when I say like you have everything that you need to like get you to the next level and beyond, like it's going to be there. And I was this girl that had anxiety. I was this girl that had no friends.
Wow.
And I came into Mary Kay only because I wanted to be able to make friends around that table. And I felt girls would be nice to me if I helped them with their skin. And if you can take a girl like that and make a girl like me that can go anywhere and do anything, what could you give her? What kind of power and confidence could you give her? What kind of journey will this be for you? Who will you give that to and who will you become in the process? And I thank God every single day. Like I'm so grateful because if it weren't for that season of being a frustrated red jacket or being a frustrated brand new sales director, like how do I get to the next level? Then I wouldn't have grown into the position. And so we are going to finish our first pink Cadillac. Like this is going to happen. So, you know, I pray like that your business would just be blessed and you would have the faithfulness to just stay the course even in the frustration times and know that like you're here for a reason and this business has been planted in your heart and in your life for a reason, for a time such as this. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.